Yo, yo, yo. Happy Saturday. Welcome to Bring It in the House. This is the brand new talk entertainment show. It's 30 minutes long, just enough to give you that meal. Yes, we feature musicians, entertainers, artists, and leaders. We spotlight them and, give them that platform to share with us what they bring to the table each and every day. We're excited this week to have a fabulous young man out of Memphis, Tennessee. He prefers to go by the title as small business proprietor. Let's give a warm welcome to CL Maiden, better known as Goose.
Hey, how you doing, folks? How's everybody doing? Millie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to have you. We're so great to have you on the show. And
I'm really honored to be
we
on your
go
show.
way
Thank
back,
you.
Memphis, Tennessee, Memphis 10. And now you're a big
M10.
time photographer, studio owner, man. That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, I still prefer the term small
So
business
I don't want to
entrepreneur.
spread it on too thick because I know you're kind of shy, right?
A little bit. And like I said,
Yes.
I prefer that title. Like I said, small business entrepreneur because one time somebody just said, "Hey, you're the CEO of this," and I was kind of like, "No, I'm not the chief executive officer. I actually still have a real job that I have to go to, and I still work." So, for me, this is a real good passion. It's a good pastime. I do make, money on, doing this type of work, but I still do it for the art and I still do it just because I love it.
Awesome. How long have you been in the business now?
Ooh, I picked up my first camera, I want to say 1985, maybe 86. And when I did, I bought a really high end camera. And the truth be told, folks, I sucked. I was horrible. This is what happens when you don't read the directions. So I would go through
Prepare,
36 rolls
yes.
of film. I'd go through 36 rolls of,
And
I
that's
go through
okay.
36 frames of photos and I'd get them back from the store and I'd be like, what is this? There'd be lines in them, stuff be
Mhm.
out of focus, lighting was terrible. And I kept at it though. I kept at it and I kind of figured it out. And I did it for a long time. And then I just got out of it. I don't know. I just really wasn't happy just doing it because you really need a dark room to process all that stuff. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I went ahead and I jumped back in and it was a whole new world. It was all digital and things. So it was a whole new learning curve. Before you could do a lot of different stuff in Lightroom. Before you would do a lot of stuff in a dark room. Well, now since it's all digital, you have to use Photoshop, Lightroom, Capture One. These are different photography editing programs. So it was a whole new curve for me. So I had to learn, and believe it or not, I picked it up little at a time. Plus, I had the good fortune. One of the guys on the fire department where I worked at, he worked for another fire department, but he just happened to be over at our station. And yeah, that's me, folks. That black guy right there. That's what crew of guys that I work with. But at that time, another photographer linked me to another model because I was having problems getting models to work with, which is really difficult. So this model, he came in, his name was Roland, and he came with another guy and another girl. And I shot him that day with what he had on, and I can still use those photographs. This guy is phenomenal. So to make a long story short, we ended up having a good working friendship. So he would come in, and that's him right there that just popped on the
Wow.
screen in the pink. And I've shot him numerous times on numerous shoots over the course of a couple of years. So what would happen is he would say, well, let's try this. And I'd look at him like he was crazy. So I would do it. And guess what happened? It would work. It would really come out looking really good. And then we just got into this whole thing where we do a lot of experimental shooting. We get some other models that would come in, or I'd get another model and they'd come in. And just a lot of good things would happen. That's some of my shadow work that I did with him. So a lot of black and white work, a lot of color work.
Wow.
Just, it was
It's really
just,
awesome.
it just really would work out. But without people like him and other photographers like my buddy Melvin over at Left Eye, for me to do what I do, they have helped tremendously through just, pushing me, and then, just giving me the opportunity to shoot differently. And even with commercial work that I do some commercial work for a couple of boutiques like the Mabazi House of Style. They are actually a brick and mortar, they're actually a brick and mortar store, but they also have an online store. So I've done work for them on multiple occasions. I just had a shoot for them just recently, a couple days ago, that I did here in the studio for some more stuff that goes in their catalog. I have a calendar shoot coming up for St. Jude's, which is St. Jude's Hospital, which you should know is
Yeah.
one of the most famous hospitals in the
Yes,
world
I
for
do.
children, and working on. So I have that coming up, and I have some other projects coming up, and I've got new lighting and just a lot of different things that are going to come in to my studio.
Wow.
Now, just to let you know, my studio is actually not that big. You have some studios that are huge. Mine is not that big, but I get a lot done in here. So I have new lighting. Like right now, I currently use 11 different lights in my studio for different things. I have some big 600-watt lights, some 200-watt lights, some high-powered LED lights. Like the light that's right here shining on this ugly mug, that is a LED light that's about this big, putting off all that light. The ambient light in the room has no effect on what you see on the screen. But as of right now, like I said, I get a lot of work done in here, and I just like to shoot when I can. And whenever I can, I just get out there and I try to find some subjects. And like when I was in Hawaii, I go out to Hawaii every year, and I shoot the landscape. I do a lot of street photography. I love to do street photography. Street photography is the best because it captures people. It captures people just being themselves when they're not looking. I did some shoots of the homeless in New York when I was out in Nevada, out in Hawaii. And it's amazing because, and I didn't send you any of those, but it's amazing because you see the world through their eyes, and you can sit here. I had this one incredible shot where a gentleman I was in New York and I was across the street, and there was a McDonald's directly across the street from us. And he was sitting on a bench looking at the McDonald's. And it just made me realize that this homeless guy is just this far away from having something to eat, but it could be 100 miles away, because if you don't have any way to get that food. And that was a pretty powerful shot for me. And it just lets me know that, we're pretty blessed. We got a roof over our heads, and we're able to work and eat and stuff like that. So that's the thing with photography. It brings the world for people to see, a world that they may not know about or never seen before. I mean, if you think back when we were kids, you could open up National Geographic magazine and you could look at the whole world. You could open Jet magazine and you can look at what Black people are doing. You open up Ebony, you see what Black people are doing. You can open up Time magazine, the newspaper, back before there was the internet, and that's how you found out things. You looked at a picture that had words attached to it. So basically, I'm just still doing that. I'm just trying to bring life to people who've never seen something before. So.
And you do it very well. You have a very strong eye for it. And I know you've been in the Memphis area for a while, but you're not originally from Memphis, are you?
No. I came here. I was in New York, and I got transferred out here. At that time, I was working for the Defense Department, and I came out, and I was working on a Navy base. And truth be told, I got a second job right away. Everywhere I would go, I'd get a second job. And I was working at this Kinko's in Memphis, and this beautiful woman walked into Kinko's one day, with a resume that needed copies of this resume. And when I met her, it was probably one of the most beautiful things that had happened to me, because I was telling her, yeah, I just got here, working on Navy base, and I just got here. And she said something to me, and I said, yeah, well, it's just me and my dog. And I said, 'cause I had to fly back to New York to go get my dog. And then she says to me, she goes, oh, okay, that's cool. Well, and I said, well, how can I get a hold of this person? And I was like, I wanted to know how I could speak to this lady later. And she was like, and she said, well, you can call me at my job. And I was like, oh, okay. And she said, she gave me her phone number to her job, and I called it, and she dedicated a song to me by Project Pat called Just Me and My Dog.
Oh man, amazing.
And believe it or not,
That's too funny. That's too funny. So all of that. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
That encounter ended up becoming a very long 20-year friendship, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry on my end, my screen kind of died out for a second there. So sorry, not sure if you saw that or not. But I was going to ask you, how did you come? You transitioned from one end to the next, and then now you got this successful studio as a photographer, and that name, you gotta put that name out there, because I mean, how did you get that name?
How did I get the name Goose?
No, your studio name, Dread.
Dreadnought Photo Works.
Yeah.
Okay. The name Dreadnought is an old English word that means to dread nothing. Somewhere when I was still living in New York, I was trying to start like this T-shirt company that worked on like extreme sports and stuff like that. So what I did was I came up with the Dreadnought, and I had drew out a logo and everything, and so that became Dreadnought. That's what it was. That was my thing. So what happened was the T-shirt company, it failed. So, but I always remembered the name, and I actually have attached it to other things. So when I started my photography business, I just called it Dreadnought Photo Works, and I spell works WERKZ, which is German for WORKS, works. So
Works, yeah.
I was just trying to be different. I wanted to have something that I felt nobody else was, that no one else was using that name. And technically, I haven't seen anyone actually use the term Dreadnought Photo Works. So I'm glad about that, because I don't have to worry about adding all those extra numbers and letters to it at the
end. How can they find you on social media? You got to put that out there.
They can find me on social media at Dreadnought Photo Works on Instagram and on Facebook. My website currently is not up and running yet. I do have one, but it's not fully finished yet. We've been working on it, and it'll probably be up hopefully next week, and it'll be www.dreadnoughtphotoworks.com. But in the bio and in the contact information is right there on Facebook and on Instagram. My page is always open. It's really nice to look at. It's a really well put together page with really good photos. I did a lot of sports photography, so I would go out to center field, and most places let me go up into the tower, and I sit in the tower and I get these incredible photographs that only you're going to see like in pro games, but these are for high school students or even little leaguers that are playing, because I use some high powered lenses like 600 and 800 millimeters, which really stretch out and get you. And that the distance between home plate and center field is about 430 feet. So I was taking shots that look like you're watching a game on Monday Night Baseball. They were that close up, and parents were just like, what? I got to have that. Like, you see my eyes? You see that?
Wow. So who were some of your early influencers, who influenced you, like some of the, some photographers, big names like Dorothea Lange or Steve McCurry, or some of those big names back in the day? Did any of those people inspire you to go into this field?
Honestly, no, none of them. I just picked up the camera. By that time, I was probably like 19 when I picked up the camera for the first time. I just wanted a camera. I didn't have any aspirations. I've done a lot of things in my life where I had zero aspirations that I love doing. Yeah, I picked up the camera, no inspiration, no, I didn't. I never planned on being a photographer. I just wanted to take some pictures. And then I started being like, wow, maybe I can take a good picture. So since I was taking so many terrible pictures, I started to just try to get better at taking a photograph. And like I said, back then in the 80s, there was no YouTube, Wikipedia. I mean, you'd have to go to the store. You need to go down to the local bodega and go get a set of encyclopedias every week to find out anything. And I was in the military at that time, so I probably could have taken a class on photography if there was one. Which I'm 19. What do I know? Nothing. I'm just a soldier. So I just had to learn on my own through trial and error. And now in the digital age, it's been the same thing, but it's a lot easier for me because I have so many other resources to look at. I have other resources to learn from. So, like I said, you've got YouTube, you've got Google, you've got books, you've got other photographers you can talk to and ask. And now with the World Wide Web, it's so much easier to get in contact with other people to just ask them simple questions on how to take a good picture. But always remember this: all photos are subjective.
Yeah.
Just because it looks good to you, just because it looks good to me, does not mean it looks good to you.
Right.
And it's all subjective. It is. Everything about photography is subjective. The color, the background, the model, how they standing, what they wear. Is their hair blowing, not blowing? Is it in focus, out of focus? You may want, like this picture that you just put up right here. That is a 100% like Vogue type shot. The young lady, the lady who does my makeup, she comes in. That's about a $250 makeup job, but she doesn't charge me that. Now, can you keep that photograph up there for just a little bit? Let me explain to the people about that photograph. Basically, those earrings, those rings, the necklace, and the stuff you see coming off of her, it's a facade. And the reason I'm going to tell you that is because we were doing that young lady's portfolio. That is all jewelry that is hanging up here in my studio. It's costume jewelry. It's costume jewelry, all of it.
Really?
That material you see, yeah, the material that you see, that's a Walmart material. we took a band and put it in the center, and then we just clamped it. Yeah, clamped. Hold on a second. We used one of these clamps right here. Can you see that? It's a little bit clamp, and we just clamped it to her ponytail on the back of her head. That's what we did.
Show it again. Let me see it again. You didn't hold it there.
It's just a little
Okay.
clamp.
Really?
That's all it is. We just clamped that material to the back of her head. There are so many photographs that I've taken to build people's portfolios, young models. So what they do is they come in, they'll come in, and I've got tons of material. I've got jewelry that's been donated by other people. I would go to my job at the hospital, and I'd be like, I'd ask all the nurses there. I'd say, hey, you got any jewelry you don't want? I mean, just tons of it. So I got all this jewelry hanging on my back wall back there, and I've got rings and bangles, all kind of stuff. And we just slap it on them models, wrap them up in some Walmart, material. They go to shooting, man. It's incredible. I mean, I'm not trying to put no secrets out here, but there's other times like, okay, I get clothes on loan from boutiques. I don't have to pay for them. They're very kind, and I put certain models, just certain models, into them. And love that. And we get clothes from certain boutiques, and they are very generous. The most generous is the Mumbazi House of Style. I get clothes from them all the time, and jewelry. And I have probably like 2 or 3 models that I put in those clothes, and then I shoot them, and I use it for the model. I use it for Mbazi's House of Style, and I use it as portfolio work to show other boutiques what we do as far as branding for them, or what we're capable of doing, instead of them just standing out there with a cell phone taking pictures of themselves in their clothes. So that's the fun part. Let me explain to you what the worst part of photography is for me.
Okay.
The worst part is when I have to sit down and edit. Editing takes so long. I know some photographers that go, "Oh, I love to edit. It's so relaxing." Not for me, it ain't. I hate it. If I could afford a professional retoucher, I would.
You would do it.
Because what they don't know is, and what people don't understand is this: when it comes time to retouch a photograph, you have to go in and remove every blemish, one spot at a time. There is no, like, people using their cell phone and they make themselves look weird. They all look like they just came out of Madame Tussauds wax factory, actually. I'm not kidding you. So, like I said, when we retouch photographs, that takes a long time.
Wow.
It's a very long process. Yeah. It's a very long process.
Wow. So the editing part is not for you. It's looking through that lens is what gets you going. Speaking of, what camera or model of camera do you recommend for people who just trying to get started? I see you're ready.
Do I recommend?
What do you recommend? Whoa! Look at that baby right there.
This is a professional grade camera. This is a Canon 5D Mark IV. It has a tethering system, which is this big cable here. Actually, even though on the side here it's got these 2 card slots, I don't use them unless I'm out in the field on location. But when I'm in the studio, this camera and this line are hooked up directly to the computer. So everything just goes directly there. This thing up here, this is a big trigger.
Oh.
This triggers all the lights that are in here. Plus it does like a whole bunch of amazing stuff. Now, this is what's considered professional grade.
That baby's pretty.
It's professional grade. It's rail system, tethering system, lenses. These are all pro grade lenses. No consumer grade stuff here. So to me, what a person needs as far as a camera goes, it's all about what they want to do. I mean, you could go out and buy one of these cameras for like $3,000, $4,000. The Canon, like a 1DX costs like $6,000. I mean, there's cameras that cost $10,000, and the only thing they do is take pictures. But for the most person, they can go out and buy a point and shoot consumer grade, and they can use their phone. Now, the trick is when you use your phone, you'll never get some of the photographs that pro photographers take, because some of that is used with lighting. Then you have to have special very special software to process photos. People just be doing them on their phone with all these masks and stuff. But just remember this: when a person shows you a photograph on their phone, that screen's only about that big. It's like 5 inches, right? 6 inches. The mark of a good photograph for any photographer is once it's printed out. Once it's printed out and it's put up on a wall, like I did a photo shoot maybe about 2 months ago, and the photograph was blown up into a 27 by 40 poster, which is huge. That's the same. That's a movie size poster. That's, when you go to the movies or you see those posters outside the theater, that photograph is that big, and it's crisp and it's clear. And it has to be, because if you take that picture with your phone, they're going to stretch it to 27 by 40, and it's going to be all pixelated. So people will be like, "Oh, I took this picture with my phone. It looks so good. It looks so great." That's because we're looking at it on a 5-inch screen.
Yeah.
See what it looks like at the studio looks like in 27 by 40. that's big. Matter of fact, it's sitting in this box rolled up right over here.
Right.
And that's going to be used for another photo shoot. So, are you kidding me? Is it almost time is up? Oh my God. That's like, you didn't even ask all the questions, did you?
I didn't get to it, but we got 5 minutes before the show wraps up. Where are you located? Where are you located in Memphis? We got to let everybody know.
My studio is located at 66 Flicker Street in Memphis, Tennessee. That's off of Union. That's right across the street from the old Memphis Fire Academy.
Wow, man. And they have to inbox you to find out what your rates are, huh?
Yes. They could just DM me, or there's a contact phone number. People, I don't know, young people don't know how to use a phone to call anybody. They just know how to text and DM.
It's a text. Yeah, you got to text. Or they got to tweet, text, Skype, whatever, huh?
anything. But yeah, my rates are very competitive. So there's not like it's a whole big deal of, out here just. I know some photographers, wedding photographers, that charge $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000. I mean, but that's the business. What else? You got another question? Hurry up.
Yes, indeed.
I was waiting for another question.
Yeah, well, there was like a little delay there, but I want our producer to put some more of your work up there if they got a chance to put it up there. So,
that's
of course, that's yourself.
Yep. I was thinking that day. That was from a recent maternity shoot I had done out in the park. That was very nice. That's a traditional clothes that she has, and she's Hispanic, and that was she glowed. She was glowing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's me. That's me doing Corona work. I work over. That's Roland. That's me doing some shadow work with him.
Yeah.
Roland again. That was some natural light work we had done several weeks back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a crew photograph from a couple of years ago that I set that up inside our bay. I put this big flag up behind us and everything. And yeah, my battalion chief was like, everybody just look at it.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, all I can say is
experiencing a little bit delay. Yeah, those are wonderful pictures, man. I wanted to also ask you, are you a part of any like national photography organizations or anything? Or do you it's just all about you, you're not trying to get out there on a national scale. You just love what you do, right?
Right. I don't belong to any national organizations right now. I might maybe one day, but right now it's still a hobby for me. I mean, I do make money behind it. And I think if I had to get out here and hustle to make a living as a photographer, it is very difficult. All markets are not the same. If I went to New York City, it'd be even tougher because there's tons of really good photographers there. So for right now, I'm good just doing it the way I do it. It just, I take photography like somebody that's an artist and just likes to draw. So.
Yes, yes. Well, you've been a great host. I mean, a great guest. I've had a busy week, but you've been a great guest on the show. We really enjoy you. Tell everybody again the name of your studio. You got to get it out there, and how they can get in contact with you. And before you say that, just want to say my sponsor. Thank you so much, Ramil. Aesthetics by Ramil. Congratulations to my daughter. She got married last weekend. She is now Mrs. Paul Adam Maldonado. So they are love. Congratulations. But before I wrap it up, hey, Goose, I'm going to leave it with you. You're going to take us out of here. Let them know how they can find you. Thank you so much for being on Bring It in the House. Take it out.
My name is CL Goose Maiden, and this is Dreadnought Photo Works. You can reach me right here at area code 901-218-2927, or you can stop by at 66 Flicker Street right here in Memphis off of Union. Hey, once again, Millie, I appreciate you. Thank you. Love you. Have a good night.